face cheating, and it's a huge problem in the console community.
Right there. He's flicks on everyone. Look at that, bro. Yeah. No.
It's kind of boring, to be quite honest. Mainly because we just know that there's Zim, and it's just like the highlights just don't make any sense because it's just like, why the fuck would we hype up people who are cheating?
Over the last 7 years, players have enjoyed and fallen in love with Ubisoft's Rainbow Six Siege. From its unique gameplay to the destructive capabilities of the maps to the unique abilities of the operators and the overall feel of the game compared to other tactical shooters such as Zero Hour or Ready or Not. But all games are plagued with several issues when it gains a big enough audience. Cheaters. Now, cheaters are a problem in every FPS game, but how do you combat cheaters when they don't use traditional hacks such as walls, aimbot, or spinbot, but instead they use a third-party device to trick the game into believing that they are legit? And that is the problem that Ubisoft is currently trying to deal with on the console version of Rainbow Six Siege. And that device is called a Zim. Now, what is a Zim? A Zim is a device that you directly plug into your console to trick the console into believing that you are using a controller, but in all reality you are using a mouse and keyboard. Now, this is a problem because it gives you an unfair advantage compared to the normal player, unless they actually use that same device. The impact that the Zim has had on the console community is undeniable, and it has been a very negative effect on the community as a whole. And with a majority of the higher ranks are now being plagued with cheaters, and it is now in fact starting to affect the lower elos and new players from coming back into the game. After a while, if you consistently have to play against cheaters, why would you keep playing Siege? And with Siege being a tough game to get into with all the maps, operators, abilities, strats, and callouts, it is a ton for new players to learn, and if you load into a game for the first time and have to run into a cheater, would you really want to keep on playing? And then it will keep on happening, and eventually it'll just stop the new player from wanting to play the game ever again. That happened to me when I first started. Cheaters never win, but with Ubisoft, it looks like they do. Daily, with the lack of help for the community to combat such a huge issue, it looks like Ubisoft at the end of the day is powerless to do anything against it. And in their defense, there really isn't anything they can do at the moment. And it's the sad truth of the whole thing, is that it really can't be helped, since they can't kind of prove who's on mouse and who's on not. But for some of the players that are blatantly cheating, Ubisoft needs to take a stand and ban them, and turn some of these players and content creators who blatantly use and show off that they're doing it into examples as a show of force to show everybody in the community that, hey, we're at least attempting to help, and it shows to cheaters that, hey, we will ban you if we find out. Now, some people will have questions, like, how is this a bannable offense? First, you are breaking Ubisoft's code of conduct by using a third-party device to gain an advantage. You can read more into that in the link below. I'll link it there. Another question is, if you are on a controller, why don't you just have aim assist? There isn't any aim assist in the multiplayer of Rainbow Six Siege. So a mouse versus controller is already a big advantage, and then adding in the fact that the controller does not get aim assist, it's just not fair in a competitive scene. And to give such a competitive advantage, it's like putting Shaq up against Muggsy Bogues in a one-on-one. The most common reason for people switching from a controller to a Zim is they are getting killed over and over by it constantly, and eventually they just sit there and realize, well, if I make the switch, it can't be that bad, right? Everybody else is using it. They usually get on the same level, in the same playing field. Another reason is that they, can't reach their desired rank with a controller, so they needed to get where they want to go. It's kind of like steroids in a sense, where they need it and they're addicted to it eventually, and now they're in denial, but they do not know what it's doing to themselves or what it's doing to the people around them, and in this case, that is the console community. Now that we talked about the problems, we need to talk about the solutions to the mouse and keyboard epidemic that is currently terrorizing console. We can first start with the obvious. We banned the M&K players. The issue with that is that some players are liable to get banned if they are high sense or have good aim on a controller. But for the players that are blatant, they should be banned like the other cheaters. A clip and a gamer tag on Ubisoft support on Twitter should work, and we know people can get banned on the console after all the DDoS ban waves, but is sacrificing a few legit players worth it to stop thousands of players from cheating? That is up to you. Leave a comment down below about your opinion on that. There's one solution that I believe personally will make the situation worse, and that is making separate servers for the controller and mouse players. The biggest issue with doing something like that, and it's a very simple issue, the Zim is tricking the console into believing it is a controller, so that means nothing will really change. the players will still be on controller and playing against the Zim players, probably at a higher volume. The only positive that comes out of it is that tons of players will switch from controller to mouse, and they'll play on the console with a mouse that's native against other native mouse players. But that could be a decent solution if you're willing to make the lives for the controller players sitting on the couch, sitting at the desk, and can't really afford like a good mouse and key to compete. Make their experience worse. And that's it. I personally think that Ubisoft won't really do anything to help for a long time, but that's just me. I also want to say the Maverick video is closing in on 1 million views. I'll say thank you for that, and we just hit 750 subscribers. So we're not 250 off of 1,000, and that's my goal by the end of the year. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. I love each one of you for helping me in such a positive way. And with that said, Dex out.